So we continue with our 9 stages of bhakti, and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur bases his description on the 2nd chapter of the Bhagavatam 1st canto. He expands these 9 into 14. So today we continue with the famous verse 18 describing how the anarthas are removed. So yesterday we heard Shrimatam Sakata Krishna, that when we hear about Krishna who is more anxious that we come back to him, he from the heart purifies vidhunoti. He is a friend, Suhrit. He is a well-wisher. He is the friend of his devotees. He is the friend of everybody. 4th canto says that he is the best friend of every soul. So he is Savai Priyatama Shatma. He is the Priyatama, the dearest friend. But if you are a devotee, then it's even much more. So he purifies the heart very kindly. And today we continue hearing how this is happening. So that's a very famous verse. 1 to 18. So let us chant. Nashta prayeshva bhadreshu Nityam bhagavata sevaya Bhagavatyuttama shloke Bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. And let us read word for word. Nashta, destroyed. Prayeshu, almost to nil. Abhadreshu, all that is inauspicious. Nityam, regularly. So the acharyas will say regularly means every day, daily, because Nityam means always, eternally. So to make it more clear, every day. Bhagavata, Srimad Bhagavatam, or the pure devotee.
Srimad Bhagavatam or the pure devotee.
2 types of Bhagavata. So Bhagavan is Krishna, and Bhagavata is either a book about Krishna or his devotee. Bhagavata. Like Vishnu and Vaishnava. Bhagavan and Bhagavata. Sevaya, by serving. Bhagavati, unto the personality of Godhead. Uttama, transcendental. Shloke, prayers. Bhakti, loving service. Bhavati, comes into being. Naishtiki, irrevocable. So you can recognize that the next stage, so Nishta, fixed bhakti, that's what's coming after anartha nivritti. So here you can recognize Naishtiki, what is connected to the stage of Nishta, stage of fixed loving devotion. Translation, and Srila Prabhupada gives a very kind and interesting translation here. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam, and by a rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. So it becomes fixed, becomes steady. And you can see it's quite kind from Srila Prabhupada. So it says Bhagavata Sevaya, and Prabhupada translates by regular attendance. So just coming to the class, right? So even if the person has come and fallen asleep, yes, so sort of he's there, right? He's attending the class. So Srila Prabhupada is very kind there. Regular attendance. So it's also a very mystical verse, so you can see how Bhagavatam gives tremendous blessings that just by regular service, means daily service, something very positive is happening in the heart. So, very, very powerful method. So it says that in this age, if a Brahmana doesn't have Bhagavatam in his house, he is worse than Chandala, worse than the dog eater. Right? Of course, nowadays, everybody who has a smartphone can have access or internet, but not many do. We have some people watching. So, abhadra, that which is troublesome, Prabhupada is translating, or that which gives misfortune. So bhadra, good fortune, good luck, and abhadra, something that spoils our good fortune. And of course, the thing that is our real good fortune is bhakti. So therefore, real abhadra is that which prevents our bhakti. We discussed 4 classes of anarthas. Anybody remembers what are the 4 classes of anarthas? Vignesh Prabhu?
Was it discussed in the morning? I don't come
in the morning.
It's envy, greed.
Envy, greed. So these are 4 main categories.
Bhakti.
Bhaktyuta, those arising in bhakti.
From offenses.
From offenses.
From
pious and pious. Sukriti and dushkriti, yes, correct. Yeah. So these are the 4 main categories. They are described by, that's how Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur describes them, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur describes them as Hridaya Durbalyam, weakness of heart. So these are Bhakti Uta, those which are arising in Bhakti. The person doesn't have enough courage or determination to reject the side benefits of Bhakti. So side benefits like puja, lava, pratishtha, desire for special status and position, and this leads to matsarya. So we are discussing. So swapratishtha is the most subtle, and it's the seed of the other anarthas. In Hari Bhakti Vilas, Sanatana Goswami says that the mother of all anarthas is ahankara, is the false ego. Right? And it can be positive and it can also be negative. So I'm the enjoyer or I'm the sufferer. Yeah? And we are oftentimes more attached to suffering than to enjoying. As Hare Krishna Prabhu from Rome said, of course, he says it's cheaper. to enjoy suffering is cheaper than to enjoy enjoyment. Right? Costs nothing. You can just go around and say, oh, I'm so unfortunate, so bad, everything is bad. Then controlling, and the other side is being a victim. Oh, they did this to me, that to me. And then it leads to matsarya. So if I want a position, then there will be envy. And envy means not necessarily, when we hear envy, we think that somebody has something and I don't have it, so I want it. So that's ordinary understanding of envy. But when we discuss envy in the yoga topics, then it's usually dvesha. It means hostility. So you feel aversion to suffering or to somebody who creates obstacles. It can be hatred, can be desire that others suffer. Usually this is, this black envy. You want others to suffer. So that's raga and dvesha. Because I want something, therefore I hate the obstacles and I hate those who create obstacles. So this is dvesha. Matsarya, rivalry, competition. And then naturally, if there is competition or rivalry, then the next one will be kutinati. Prabhupada, Bhaktivinoda Thakur puts it as deceitfulness or fault finding. Fault finding. Deceitfulness or fault finding. Because I have to defeat the rivals or competitors. So how do I do this? I find faults. I either defeat them in my mind, or then I criticize them in general, do politics, defeat them, try to defeat them like this. And you can see this is where it can become really dangerous, because it can become offenses. It can turn into offenses. And then tucha sakti. Then naturally, after this, then a devotee can become prey, can succumb, can be entrapped by asakti, attachment, but not to Krishna, but tucha. Tucha, and tucha means insignificant. So tucha means, like tucha is the sound of spitting. Tucha, tucha. So useless, useless things we become attached. That are, sometimes the person, like we see Bharat Maharaj renounced the empire of the whole world, and then he became attached to one small deer. Or sometimes a person also can renounce some great career, and then he becomes attached to something really insignificant, something really useless. You can become attached to anything. I remember in the Bibiti temple in Lithuania, we had, when I was going to the Mangalarati, then there were 4 or 5 bathrooms, or cabins in the bathroom. And I was attached to going to the second from the left. So every morning I'm coming and I'm going there. And one morning I'm coming and it's occupied. And I say, what is this? They use my bathroom, my cabin. It's not mine. It's for everybody. But I claim even this. So this is where once Prabhupada was on the morning walk, and they came to a tree, and Prabhupada pointed to some stool under the tree of bird stool. And he said, what does it mean? And the devotees look at these, droppings. And the droppings, maybe there's some letters in these droppings, and they try to read these droppings. What is the meaning? Prabhupada says, no, it means they come here every day. So they have nothing, and still they are attached. They say, this is my home. This branch of the tree, they become attached even to this. So also, you can become attached to something that's really...
These are only the weaknesses of heart.
These are weaknesses of heart, yes, and or bhaktyutta anarthas. Anarthas coming in bhakti.
They are not the first 4.
No. There are more. Bhaktisiddhantaji calls them weeds. So when we grow the creeper of bhakti, bhakti lata, then these are the weeds that grow together. And there are others. Bhaktisiddhantaji in his Chaitanya Charitamrita describes other weeds like himsa, cruelty, puja, lava pratishta, that pratishta we have here, puja, desire to be worshipped, and then greed for gain. In Haribhakti Sudodaya, Narada Muni says that people are greedy and people are attached to money, but sometimes even a person becomes a monk, but then he's trying to collect more donations. Yes? And thinks, yes, so this is a good place, and they are giving me donations. So you know that Raghunath Das Goswami even stopped going to the gate of Jagannath Puri temple because of this, because he recognized, I'm becoming greedy for. I already look at people and think, he will give me more donations. And so then somebody can be found who is not greedy, who doesn't want to collect money, but he likes that everybody knows, this one, he's not greedy. Like Prabhupada they brought him a newspaper and shown him a yogi who was hiding his hands behind the back. So they are giving him money and he's not taking. And they take a big picture and put it in newspaper. See, he's not greedy. Prabhupada said, you can take a picture of me with a big pile of money and I'm embracing this money because I'm using this money for Krishna. And we know Prabhupada used everything for Krishna. So Narada Muni says in Hari Bhakti Sudadaya that some are detached, not greedy, but they want to be famous as not greedy. They want to enjoy the glory. Oh, you see, I'm totally renounced, totally free from greed. So they have desire for puja. So labha they have renounced, but puja they want to enjoy. And then some recognize this and they renounce even that. But when they overhear somebody says, oh, he is not greedy and he's very humble, they feel happy inside. Oh, somebody knows my true glory, my nature. So it's very deep, all of these things, rooted in the heart. So therefore, as Burjan Prabhu says, that the same thing we took to defeat Maya, Maya uses to defeat us. Right? So the same thing that I took for becoming a humble servant of Krishna, then I go around and proudly try to prove my superiority, how I'm better. Do you chant 64 rounds? You should chant 64. I'm chanting 64 rounds, or whatever, 27 rounds, and how many are you chanting? This is, you should chant, or whatever I'm doing, I'm going around and pushing this, If I'm a kirtan singer, then how much do you do kirtan? How many hours do you do kirtan? Do you do every day kirtan every day? This is useful. You should do every day, and 5 hours or something. Or if I do study books or teach books, or are you studying every day? You must study. If you don't study, it's useless. Half your life is wasted. Or if whatever I'm doing, so book distribution, of course these are all good, these are all important. If I worship the deities, then I go to my friends, oh, you don't have Shalagram Shila? What's wrong? You should get a Shalagram Shila. So whatever is whatever I'm doing, I think everybody should do. And I try to, and if he doesn't do, I either try to convince him or try to show, of course, so you're not doing this, so it's wasted, I'm doing this and you're not doing this. So the same thing which was supposed to make me more humble, I'm using to be more in Maya. The same thing. And this is one way. Another way is how in the 11th canto it says that many sages were able to cross the ocean of lust. There is an ocean of lust, right? Very difficult to cross. Big waves and very deep and very large. So they crossed the ocean of lust. And what is the result? They drown in a puddle of anger. The ocean of lust they crossed, and then they drown in a small little puddle of anger, because they control lust, but not through positive bhakti, through positive Krishna consciousness, but renunciation. So therefore they are, very irritable, very angry. So somebody they still want to control. So somebody makes some, like this Koshika Brahmana, a bird drops some excrement and he burns the bird, and all tapasya is finished. All the results of tapasya are gone to burn this poor bird who just was doing normal things. It's normal for a bird to sit on a tree and pass through, he didn't do anything special. And it was not against this Koshika, it was just normal thing. But he wasted all his 100 years of tapasya out of anger. So he crossed, he didn't go and enjoy sex and whatever in these 100 years, but then he drowned in the puddle of lust, of anger. Which is a manifestation of, this is what we mean by envy. Yes, envy. So he's dvesha. He hates whatever disturbs him, whatever is a disturbance to his desires and peace. Alright, so these are Hridaya Durbalyam, weakness of heart. Prabhupada mentions them in the 15th chapter of the Gita. And you can see that they are the first to become completely cleared. At anartha nivritti, they are formidable. They are very big at anartha nivritti, right? But already at nishta, you are completely free of them. And at ruchi, even traces of them are gone. Because you have positive taste, you can renounce all the, you don't want followers, you don't want any enjoyment or anything, because you have taste. So our program is positive taste. To positive taste, we can renounce everything. That's emphasized. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, when he comments on Shikshashtaka, so Nadhanam Najanam Nasundarim, Kavitna Vajagadisha Kama, he says that it's the result of ruchi. This shloka describes ruchi. It sounds very negative. Not this, not that, and we sometimes think, no, nothing, not this, not that. But Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, no, this is the natural result of ruchi, of positive taste. So yoga, Prabhupada says, means plus. That's from here, it means plus. So plus Krishna. Our program is plus Krishna. Yesterday we discussed how sin and piety, or what we usually understand by karma, is cut. Also, you can see it's the first to go. Hridaya Durbalyam is the first to become completely uprooted, but karma, sin and piety, is the first to set us free. So you can see at bhajana kriya, you just begin to hear and chant, and almost complete piety, almost complete freedom from the bondage of karma, sin and piety. And bondage of sin and piety, sin are 4 types of ignorance, and piety are 4 types of temptations. So 4 types of ignorance are svatatve, who am I, paratatve, what's the absolute truth for God, and then sadhya sadhana tatve, what is the goal for perfection of life, and what is the process, sadhya sadhana tatve, and also something connected with our Vignesh. It's Virodi Vishaya. So what is the how to remove obstacles? So what are the obstacles? Because we see some people don't understand, like, what's wrong with meat eating? What's wrong with intoxication? What's wrong with this and that? So they don't understand what are the obstacles. So this is removed very quickly. You just begin reading books or come to the temple 3 times and you know everything. Okay, that God is person, I'm a servant, alcohol is not good. Sometimes that's our first preaching. 4 golden principles. It's a little strange. I think this should be on, after 2 months that they should. There are principles, and they have something. That's how Prabhupada was preaching, through kirtan, through positive taste. Then people themselves asked, are there any rules? Thank you for asking. Yes, 4 golden principles. But they themselves were asking, right? So then he wrote this list, and he put all the members, or all the initiated members of ISKCON must follow. I think we have oftentimes this copy. Yeah. All right. So this is sin, and piety is attraction to 4 kinds of enjoyment. So bhukti, svarga, siddhi, and mukti. So bhukti, enjoyment of the senses. Svarga, heavenly planets, higher planets. Siddhi, mystical powers. And mukti, liberation. Because a person who is pious, then these things are available. So if you're pious, then obviously you have a lot of things you can enjoy. Obviously, if you're more pious, then other things are also not so difficult for you, or they seem to be close, available. Svarga, siddhi, and so forth. So therefore, a person can be attached to them. But we sometimes think, karma, such a heavy karma. However, karma is the first to go. Vishnacha Thakur is very clear. As soon as you begin chanting Hare Krishna, or Rupa Goswami in Namashtaka says that even a shadow of the holy name, not even pure, shadow Namavasa. Just a touch of a touch. It means even before Shraddha. Already removes even prarabdha karma. Cuts even prarabdha karma. So,
What is prarabdha karma?
manifest karma. Karma that already started to manifest. So body and its destiny of the body. So normally even Jivan Mukti, even Brahmagyan, knowledge of transcendence and being free, doesn't remove prarabdha karma. You have to continue living life and finish your manifest karma, Yavan karma. But bhakti is unique, that even a shadow of bhakti, not just bhakti, but a shadow of bhakti can remove. How does it remove? It doesn't mean that it's completely finished, that that you were wearing glasses and then Hare Krishna. Oh, I don't need that. Okay. Hare Ram. Oh, okay. But it means that whatever was an obstacle. So basically, these four types of ignorance and four types of temptations, they will not prevent you from performing bhakti. So that's almost completely removed already at Bhajana Kriya. Already at Bhajana Kriya. Alright. So then Hridaya Durbalyam we discussed. And aparada or offenses, there are four kinds of offenses. Four kinds of offenses. What offenses do you know? Huh? Namaparad, yes. So 10 kinds of namaparad, yes. Then? Vaishnava parad, yes. So we have deities, yes. This is Seva parada. Deities, so we have, and Jiva parada, yes. So these four, Nama, then Vaishnavas, then Seva or deities, and we have 60 something offenses listed in the Nectar of Devotion, and then Jiva. So even if we give trouble to ordinary Jivas, it can slow down or prevent our bhakti. So this is why Pashugna is mentioned as one of the persons who cannot advance, a butcher. So a butcher cannot develop taste for katha, Krishna katha. So these are four kinds of offenses that are there. And what is the problem? So Bhaktivinoda Thakur calls this type of aparada just aparada, and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur calls them aparadotta. The anarthas coming from offenses. So what is coming from offenses? What is the result of offenses? The result of offenses, of course, we know loss of taste and some even suffering can be there. But the worst result of offenses, the most dangerous result of offenses, is new offenses. You know, if you offended somebody one time, we will think even worse about them. Yeah? If we insulted somebody, we will think worse and worse about this person. It's called confirmation bias. We collect more and more proofs that they are bad, and then we think worse and worse, and then it can really stop our advancement. So that's why we have Raghunath Bhatta Goswami in Vrindavan, who was singing Bhagavatam very beautifully in 5 different melodies. So whenever somebody would tell him, "Did you hear this devotee, what he did?" And then he said, no, I don't want to hear this. He said, he's a devotee, whatever he does, he does, as long as he's a devotee, so I don't need to hear about that. If it was my son, if it was my disciple, and or if it was my worker, okay, maybe then I should take care or do something. But otherwise, why should I? What's the point of tasting? And you can see so often these gossips, they are insubstantial. There is no proof. There is no proof. It's very often just surmising, like guessing. They're trying to guess. Speculation. Yeah, it's just speculation.
it added only the garbage in the mind. And anyway, there is so much garbage
Yeah,
already.
Yes. And people really relish this. So in this world we have very bad taste. It's called bibhatsa rasa. We enjoy ghastliness. We enjoy abominable things. Like there are some types of cheese, I think, that stink, and so sort of something stinks, and people are attracted to this, or they say they hate. It's like, it's you go from a big some big journey in mountains, and then your t-shirt obviously is stinking, so then you smell, and then, ooh, yes, but then you smell again, ooh. So if it's ooh, I smell again, and sometimes you go to your friend, oh, look at this, ooh. So that's bibhatsa rasa, enjoying these abominable things, abominable tastes. And in this world, I mean, the whole news industry is bibhatsa rasa. They try to share either scary horror things or these abominable things. Oh, these are scandals, they relish the scandals, the yellow press. And this is where the honest press, that was the idea behind the good, proper news outlets, like they often say BBC or something. They have standards. So if it doesn't have at least 2 factual, official, independent confirmations, it's not news. It's not. They don't give it. They have some standards. What should be. But nowadays, people want to know more, so then they use things like Facebook or some other blogs, and then you can create so much misinformation. You can spread any kinds of whatever, any damn thing can go. So bibhatsa rasa, criticizing aparada, anarthas, and you can see that they have traces even up to attaining Krishna's lotus feet. So even at prema, some traces of this anartha can remain. So even at prema, something can still be there, some slight tinge of taste. Now, any questions here?
Yes. Actually, you told just now it can remain. So does it mean like it is surely there, or it is possibility is there? Or?
Well, if there was offense, if there were offenses, especially the deepest one is the Vaishnava para. So that's the deepest. And there are, criticizing a Vaishnava for birth. And what kind of birth? Oh, he was born as a Shudra, as a Vaishya, from this country, he's black, he's white, he's this, he's that, something. That's one. Another is criticizing for mistakes almost corrected. So the person is trying to work on it, still something can be there. Then criticizing for mistakes in the past that he's already corrected, but still some memories there. He was a drug addict. What can you expect from a drug addict? Or he was a Hell's Angel or something. So we criticize him for that.
So criticizing doesn't mean like for some people they discuss among themselves.
Yeah.
So
That's,
discussion is a criticism.
Sridhar Swami says, what is ninda? He says dosha kirtan. It's to bring out the faults or mistakes.
Without what I'm saying is sometimes two devotees they say we are discussing so it can be improved.
Who? How can they improve a third person?
I-
That's how you can call the bluff sometimes. Somebody comes to discuss the third person, Tulsidas says that criticism is the worst kind of snakes. Comes out of the mouth of one person, bites on the ear of the second person, and 3 people die. This person dies, the speaker, the hearer, and the third person dies. So sometimes that's how you can call the bluff. Somebody comes and says, oh, this person, this and that. So you can say, okay, so let's go help him. Oh, what do you need? Well, no, what can I do? No, I cannot. So they don't have any constructive idea about it. They can, I mean, if they feel hurt, they can say, oh, I feel very sad, and okay, so you can, how do I say, empathize. Oh, it's tough, you feel unhappy, you feel disturbed, you feel frustrated. Okay, that's your feeling, but that's, not necessarily something that other people did to you. I can be depressed that polar bears don't have snow anymore, right? So I can be fully depressed by this, right? But it's not the fault of polar bears. Even it's hard to find specific people who are guilty of this. And 6 kinds of Vaishnava parat are discussed in Skanda Purana. We have it. We have it in Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's quoted in Madhya 15, verse 261. Nindam kurvanti ye mudha Vaishnavana mahatmanam patanti pitrivi sardam maharaurava sangite. Those who criticize, those foolish people who criticize great souls who are devotees of God, go to most terrible Raurava hell together with their ancestors. So they themselves go down and they drag down all those who are around them. So what are the 6 offenses here? One is hanti, means to kill or to beat a Vaishnava. My Bhakta leader was saying, I will not do any offense, I'll just punch him in the nose. No criticism, just punch him in the nose. But that's also an offense, according to Skanda Purana. Next, nindati. So nindati, that's criticism, gossip, or insult, blaspheme. Then dveshti. So that's, how is it translated here? Being envious of a Vaishnava. Dveshti. Then nabhinandati, not to greet a Vaishnava. Some Vaishnava is coming and we do not want to look at him, do not want to say Hare Krishna, we don't want to talk to him, we don't want to even say hello. Then krudhyate means we keep anger. So they did something wrong and then we never forgive. So that's also, it's more subtle. And the subtlest of all, no harsham darshane. You see them and you do not feel happy. So that's an offense. You see a Vaishnava, you're not happy, careful. Of course, this is like the most subtle one. Criticism. What else is there about criticizing?
6 are called.
Yeah, these are 6. It's a large topic. It's a big topic. Yes, we can remember from the first canto in chapter 17. Parikshit is asking Dharma the bull. Kali is standing right in front of him. He broke his 3 legs and he says, who is the cause of your suffering? And Dharma says, it's a deep question, I don't know. So the Kali is standing right next to him, and he says, it's hard to say. There are different opinions. Some people say I am the cause. Some people say nature is the cause. Some people say stars are the cause. But I'm not sure. So then Yudhishthira says, you must be Dharma personified. Because you know that when you blame somebody, you get half the blame yourself. It's a very strange place in the Shastra. Why? By accusing somebody, you are guilty of the same thing. Half of the guilt is yours. So we have this verse in Narada Purana about criticism. So the verse, this is Narada Purana, Purva Bhaga, means first canto, Prathama Pada, first chapter or part, and then chapter 15, verse 115. So Yamaraj says to King Bhagirath, Tat papam samavapnuti narakam tavu bhavapi. The same sin is obtained by two people. Jai, if you go in time. And both people go to hell. Those who do a sin, papinam, and papagananam. Those who count the sins and point them to others. So you should, Astitva tulya papaste. If the sin is actual astitva, it actually is there, then they get the same punishment. And if the sin is mithyatva, is imagined, then they get double punishment. If somebody says, he eats meat or something secretly, then if it's not true, then the person gets punishment for eating meat, double punishment, according to Yamaraj. And of course, there are many more quotients, but that's the main idea. And at the same time, so Yati Narakam Gauram, so he goes to the terrible hell, and at the same time, by this criticism, the sin of the sinners is cut in half. So when you criticize, they are sin. So when somebody is criticizing you, Vidura says, "Be happy," because they take you half of your sin, and if you tolerate, then again half of your sin is taken. So I'm somewhat afraid about it because, I love to criticize the critics. So if critics collect all the sin from everybody, right, and then I criticize the critics, what do I get? It's like I get half the sin of the whole world or something. I don't know what to do about it. Any comments here?
Actually, is it possible to define what is criticism of a non-Vaishnava? Because Vaishnava, aparadhika, we have some understanding. Non-Vaishnava is something like,
Yeah. So the main thing you should ask why. What's the purpose? What do you want to get through this? Mm-hmm. Do you want to benefit somebody? Is there a benefit in it? Mm-hmm. What is the benefit? How do you get this benefit? Mm-hmm.
There is a verse in 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, and Prabhupada says, we have to see whether can I progress this in Krishna consciousness or not, and we have to see the things which is favorable for our Krishna consciousness, we have to reject it. So basically we can see the criticism also in that sense. Right?
Yeah.
Because sometimes criticisms, actually if you think it's a heavy word, because sometimes
which word?
Criticism.
The
word is heavy.
Heavy, yes.
Criticize someone, it's like telling their character is wrong. They have done, it's basically talking about their character.
Yes.
So is it that much, or is it like criticism of, for Vaishnavas we don't even see the smallest faults. We ignore everything. But for non-Vaishnava,
it's not that we don't see, but it's not that you are blind.
But we don't take.
So there is one nice verse, we will discuss it now, from Sati. So, but coming back to criticizing non-devotees, you see, oftentimes, unfortunately, this is the rallying point. You know this expression, rallying point? It's the point to unite your group. You unite your group not for something, but against something. Let's get together and kill these rascals, and they are very, very bad. Let's go destroy them. You unite against somebody, so that's called a rallying point. It's a point you are rally everybody, gather everybody. But this is like the lowest. This is like the low. It's using tamagun basically. It's tamasic. Right? So there are some Vaishnavas like this. I'm sorry, who there is even some. There are so many groups like the whole their life is being anti-ISKCON, just criticizing everything about ISKCON or some ISKCON guru or gurus or the only reason of their existence. They spend dozens of hours every day on the internet, finding every chance to to do this. But there is certainly so it's attractive, and it's attractive for a neophyte. We like to criticize. It's sort of the cheapest entry to be against somebody, to criticize something. It's you can see oftentimes there is counterculture or rebellious teenagers who are against, and oftentimes they are justified. There is a reason why they rebel, because society is hypocritic, society is materialistic, society is very gross, society there are so many mistakes. Then there is a reason why they are rebelling. Some are rebelling in more subtle ways, and some are rebelling, becoming in a gross way, just very gross, just to be totally against, especially teenagers. Sometimes, right? It's natural. And oftentimes you will attract these people, because we come with karmis and demons. Oh yeah, that's what I think also. I remember when I read Bhagavad Gita for the first time, I found karmi, and I thought, oh, that person is a karmi. Now I know what to call him. I have a new philosophical insult. Call him a karmi. But then you can see how Srila Prabhupada, like you can read, he speaks about demoniac society, demoniac leaders, right? But then I remember but then I remember I was listening to his conversation in a garden in Los Angeles, and then I heard how he speaks this. So when I read it how these demons are like this, these demons. But then I heard, and Prabhupada says, these foolish demons. He speaks compassionately. He feels compassion. Right? And you can see, whenever he speaks about hell, he never scares you. You will go to hell. No. He says, people are going to hell. Please help save them. That's how he speaks about hell. He speaks about hell a lot. But how does he speak? He says, please, people are already they're already living in hell, oftentimes. He says, factory is another name for hell. I mean, many factories, it's probably improving in the last 20, 30 years, but still it's sweatshop, sweatshop. They squeeze out every ounce of juice out of you. Still like hell. Maybe not so gross. There were gross hells in these industrial factories of 50 years ago. Gross hell, fire, noise, machinery, people are cut all the time and mutilated. It was really, I think it's getting somewhat better in this regard. Although, again, depending where, like, in Bangladesh, we had, this huge, like yesterday I saw, there's a sweater from Bangladesh, right? It looks very nice, expensive, big, nice, whatever, Galeria Kaufhof or, some clean supermarket, some department store. But it was made in some sweatshop in Bangladesh where you had thousands of people cramped in this weak building, and then it falls because it's not done properly, and then it crashes, and then hundreds of people are crushed. 1,200 people in that building, and they are crushed under this building. So what is it if not hell? And then one person survived 5 days, fortunately, because there was some water in a bathtub. So she survived 5 days under the ruins. You know this type? So Srila Prabhupada doesn't. So Prabhupada says they're already in hell, or they're going to hell. So he doesn't scare you. He says, please save them. Please help save them from hell. So this is how Prabhupada speaks about it. He doesn't enjoy criticizing, in other words. So when what is condemned is enjoying the criticism. So what's wrong is enjoying that criticism. Because why? Because I feel better. When I put others down, I feel So obviously, if I criticize them, I must be better, right? But when the preacher criticizes, he does it for inspiration and for helping people. So, criticizing without a higher purpose will still contaminate. You can see that this is the austerity of speech. So we have in the 17th chapter, Anudvega Karam Vakyam. Satyam, five types of austerity of speech. Speaking words that do not agitate. Then Satyam, they must be true. Then Priya, they must be pleasing. Austerity is to speak pleasing words. And then Hitam, they must bring benefit. And then Svadhyaya, they must be based on Shastra. And Prabhupada, you can see Prabhupada says, one should not speak in such a way as to agitate the mind of others. First sentence. Next sentence. Of course, when a teacher speaks, he can speak the truth for the instruction of his students. Yeah? So he can say that you're a dirty animal. Or like, I went with Gopal Krishna Maharaj many years ago, and then he said, okay, pack my suitcase. So I packed his suitcase, and then he came and he looked, this Adi, when I was 8, I could pack better. I could pack better than this when I was 8 years old. And I thought, oh. And then he looked at me, okay, no problem. He said, you're very intelligent, it's okay. So I didn't take well. So a teacher can speak the truth for the instruction of his students, but such a teacher should not speak to those who are not his students, if he will agitate their minds. And even to the student, you can see, is this, like, again, Gopal Krishna Maharaj, he said, it was not so heavy, but he saw, oh, his mind is disturbed. So then he, okay, no, it's okay. You're very intelligent, you're a very good boy. He tries to pacify me. This is penance as far as talking is concerned. That's the austerity of speech. So usually we do in our courses, we take the criticism fast. So you can try to take the fast, at least, 1 day on, 1 day off. You can, for example, fast for criticism today, Friday, right? And then tomorrow, and then if you need to criticize, then you can tell them, okay, tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. So can you actually avoid criticizing with words or even with mind? That's the next one. Manah prasada somyatvam. Maunam. And in the 4th canto we have 4.4.12. Very beautiful verse, which Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur expands into a treatise about 4 kinds of sadhus and 4 kinds of asadhus. Sridhar Swami makes it a little simpler because he speaks about Mahattama. So Sati Devi says that there are three kinds of sadhus. So the first is Mahat. So that's based on Siddharswami's commentary. Mahat means great. Great, that means the entry level to being a sadhu, or Siddharswami also says this is a brahmana. At least this is a brahmana. That's the minimum level. So if you are a teacher, that's the minimum level you should be, or a preacher, that's the minimum level of vision you require, Mahat. And what is it? They see good and bad. They see both good and bad, but pay attention only to good. Okay, let me see. I think I must be having it already. I already had it somewhere as a file. Anyway, I will. So they see good and bad. They are not blind. They see the bad, but they pay attention only to good. Because otherwise, how can you inspire, right? If you don't see the good, then you don't see any hope. Then you cannot. First of all, if you have condemned the person, if you have given up on the person, then that's it. What incentive, what reason they have to improve? So that's why to be a teacher, a brahmana. So this is Mahat. This is great. Ordinary behavior is, you see, like even people can be friends, people can be relatives, people can be husband and wife, and there is so much service the other person did, so much service, and then they did one mistake. Finished. Useless. Forget them. Throw them out. So that's ordinary. But Mahat, okay, some mistake is there, but so much good also was there. So they don't forget the good. They don't forget the good side. That's the first level of sadhu. Mahat. So that's the first. The next one is Mahattara. Mahattara means greater. It means they see only good. This is more challenging. They see only good. And then she says there are Mahattama, greatest. They can find good in a pile of bad qualities. She says like Lord Shiva, who finds a good quality even in those bhutas, pretas, and ghosts. He sees, they can be loyal, they can try to follow. So he uses this good quality and tries to elevate it. And then she says, describing the asadhu. So asadhu, she says, Daksha Tvadrisha, like you, Daksha, who can find bad quality in somebody who is faultless. Like Lord Shiva. Person is faultless and still he finds a fault. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives 4 degrees there. He says, they say, okay, today he is okay, but tomorrow he will fall down. Or they speculate, okay, he seems to be renounced, but it's only because he likes to eat ghee, rice with ghee. That's why he is. So they imagine some can find fault in a faultless, like Lord Shiva. So this is why we like sadhus. And that's how, in fact, you can spread Krishna consciousness. You can spread Krishna consciousness only if you see good qualities in other people. So this was my experience when I went traveling with Niranjana Maharaj in one of the first years. And I was going through a very difficult time facing this, discovering the bad qualities that were hidden in the heart, and I thought I'm hopeless and useless. It's a totally demoniac mind, and I was traveling with him for several weeks, and then I noticed that he is treating me with genuine respect. He's looking with me as, with appreciation. So okay, maybe once it was a mistake, twice it was a mistake, but for 2 weeks I can see, no, he's actually looking with some. So then, after 2 weeks I started thinking, maybe I am a human. Maybe there is hope for me. He sort of gave me hope, by this vision. I decided, I thought, if he sees that something, if he treats me with this appreciation, maybe I can become a devotee. Maybe there is hope for me. Right? So that's the sadhu, to find good qualities. And then such a sadhu can criticize you, and you will be happy to accept it. Right? If they see good in you, and when they criticize you, you're happy to take it. There's no problem. But if somebody doesn't see good and criticizes, then it's difficult to swallow, and it's not always helpful. Any questions? Yes.
I have more than not a question, but a kind of comment.
Yes.
That maybe you could comment a little bit more on this. I think it's matching the subject.
Mm-hmm.
It's, one disciple of Prabhupada, I think it was Rukmini, that she was telling us the short story about one bhakta who was, maybe you know this story, who was like watching man in the house where Prabhupada was staying. He was in garage one night, evening, and Prabhupada came down from his room to him, and I have this quotation. He saw Prabhupada and he asked, is there any service, Prabhupada, I can do for you? And Prabhupada said, yes, you can go where I cannot go.
You can go where I cannot go. Yes?
Did you hear this?
Yes. No.
And then, where is that Prabhupada where you would not go? And Prabhupada said, to the future.
To the future.
By the way you will treat people there, they will know how much Krishna loves them.
By the way you treat people there, they will know how Krishna loves them.
Yes,
Yeah?
maybe you can repeat for the internet.
Yeah. Rukmini Devi is saying that Prabhupada told a devotee. Thank you. Yeah, one devotee asked Srila Prabhupada, is there any service I can do for you? And Srila Prabhupada says, yes, you can go where I will not go. Where is it that you would not go? To the future. By the way you will treat people, there they will know how much Krishna loves them. This is beautiful, very beautiful.
Also nice.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, this is the definition of sadhu. A sadhu is somebody who appreciates others. This is also why we have this quote that Kanishta Bhakta is practically useless for preaching purposes, because he does not respect even devotees. So how can he show respect to non-devotees? And the preacher is a madhyam. Madhyam is somebody who can actually appreciate others and see everybody as Krishna's temple, and therefore his preaching will be attractive. Alright, so it's already 9:10. We continue at 7 in the evening. We will discuss the dark shadows of our hearts further.
Today, the intention also, we have Bhakti.
We have Bhakti, yes, Bhakti Vriksha. Yeah, good, okay. Yeah, we will scare them.
What were the 4 anarthas like which you discussed yesterday? Like, because
You can see there are 4 categories and 4 anarthas in each of these. So the 4 categories are sin and piety. Sin 1, piety 2. And this is your karma, right? Sin and piety. And then 4 in each. 4 subcategories in sin are 4 types of ignorance, and in piety 4 types of attractions, temptations, enjoyments. And then bhakti-yutta anarthas, or weakness of heart, so weeds which grow together with bhakti. And then the 4th is aparada, and then also 4 kinds, which are Vaishnava aparad, Nama aparad, Deity aparad, and Jiva aparad. Yes, all right.
any questions from internet?
Yeah, there is, but I will need to find them. It may take some time.
I have one question.
Yes.
You told that in Bhajanic stage only this karmic bondage will be almost.
Yeah, that's Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur Madhurika Damini.
So,
Almost
what is
all.
the role of astrology? So, I'll tell you 2 things which I heard. One thing is.
Not applicable to devotee.
No. I'll tell little more unknown versions.
Uh-huh.
One is no matter what good or bad may happen to you in this life, you still continue to remain a devotee. So astrology can predict what good and bad can happen, but you have to continue to remain a devotee. That is number 1. Second thing is, they say it depends on how intensely you practice. So if something is not good for a devotional service, which is coming through a karmic reaction, then Krishna will remove it.
So there is a lot of misconceptions about astrology, and it's a funny topic. It's a nice topic. It's a very mystical topic. Astrology is also a very strong way to preach, because it's mystical. It shows the future. It shows how a person how this Vedic science allows to see the unseen things, and it's helpful. So there are many people who preach through astrology, but there are big misconceptions about astrology. One is that astrology equals karma. It's a mistake, because you can see Prabhupada had a prediction he will open 108 temples. Yes? And he did. So is Prabhupada under karma? Was it his karma? Does it mean it was not his service or something? Or Parikshit, he was born, and the astrologers immediately told the grandfather Yudhishthir that he will be a great king, he will stop Kali, he will do this, the whole Leela. So does it mean Parikshit was not a pure devotee? He's under karma? What to speak about then? Krishna. You have Gauranga's chart. Gauranga. And this is how you study classic astrology. You study the chart of Krishna, you study the chart of Rama, and you can see, if you look at Krishna's chart, you will see he is super beautiful. You will see, exalted moon and Shukra, Venus, in his own house, in the first house. He is like magically attractive. This Taurus, magically attractive. Exalted moon, Rohini Nakshatra. It means super attractive, super beautiful, and with Venus, very attractive. Venus in his own house. Incredibly beautiful. And then he has the third house, that's Mars. So he's conquering the obstacles. He has Sun in the 4th. He's very religious. He has separation with loved ones. Saturn in the 7th. Some viraha, some separation is there. So you can see, wow, this is very incredible. He has Mercury in the 5th, exalted also. Own and exalted. That means his books, his writings will be very famous, and will be very helpful. So Bhagavad Gita, thousands of years we are studying. So what, does it mean he's under karma? No. So the answer is that astrology is just a language. It's just a mirror to reflect what the person does. Like English language can reflect Maya, or it can be used to translate Bhagavatam and Krishna book and Krishna Lila. And then it becomes spiritual. Or like sounds, we can use them to speak about Maya, or we can use them to speak about Krishna. Then they become spiritual. So it's just a mirror. It can speak about karma, or it can speak about Lila. Now, the next question. If you can predict Lila, then there is no choice. How, if you can predict everything, it means there is no free choice, no freedom, no freedom of will, right? Wrong. It's another logical fallacy. It's a logical mistake. Just because you can predict something is not connected with the choice, has no connection with the choice of a person. It's may or may not be choice. It has no bearing on the person's choice. Because what is prediction? Prediction is seeing in the future. But if you see something, does it mean that it's not their choice? If you can look out of, like here, you can see out of the window. In the morning we do keep a kirtan, and you can see many people. They go down the road, and some people turn left, some people turn right. You can see this, right? But whose choice is it? Does it mean it's not their choice? It's their choice. You just see it. So in the same way, here you can see it from 30 meters, and in astrology, you see it in 30 years. It's the same thing. That's in space, and that's in time. And just because you see, doesn't mean that it's not the person's choice. It's their choice. I mean, it depends on the person. If he's in more sattvic, it's more free will. Less sattvic, then less free will. But humans always have a little choice. More or less, there is some choice. They can use it properly, and then every human can become a bhakta and can become free from samsara, from Maya. So then they become a bhakta. Another problem is that we don't have yogi astrologers. Very few. You can see that till today, hardly any astrologers are not karmis. And therefore, they don't know how to read devotees' charts. That's why you can see some of them, they are used only to karmis. So some devotees are coming and they see, oh, you have sun in the 12th, you have 12th house, so heavy, oh, very bad karma. But for a karmi, this would mean the person will go to a prison, the person will go to a hospital. But for a devotee, it means he will go to the brahmacharya ashram. And he will worship on the altar. So it's good. It's nothing scary. But they don't know how to read it. They don't understand. They don't know yoga. They don't know sadhana. So they don't know how to interpret this properly. That's another thing. And another thing is that in any case, so it's not karma. First, it doesn't preclude choice. Second, people don't know how to interpret sadhana and lila and Krishna's mercy, even though it's there. If you see, all astrologers are great Vaishnavas. Parashara is a very great Vaishnava, Brihat Parashara Hora Shastra. So there is a way to see it properly. And one other point is for devotees. So again, some people say, oh, as soon as you become a devotee, astrology doesn't work. That means they don't know how to read. If it is difficult to read, and for everybody, even for karmis, it's not easy to read. But for devotees especially, you have to be very, very elevated. And it's a very complicated science. It's a super complicated science. And in fact, this is why it's helpful to study some astrology, so you can understand that it's a probabilistic science. The astrologer predicts what is probable. He doesn't know. And an honest astrologer, he will admit, I'm not sure. I don't know, actually. They don't try to scare you or give you false hopes. There is one nice book by a devotee, Sri Radha Govinda. She is an astrologer in a dynasty of astrologers. For many generations they were astrologers. So she wrote a very good book called How to Mess Up Your Life with Astrology. So it's very good because people have so much misunderstandings about astrology. And so for devotees, first of all, it's very difficult to actually understand. And second of all, for everybody, Parashara, he never gives you just a fatalistic dictum. For example, he says, okay, if your Ketu is in the 10th house in such and such a position and Ketu period comes, then the government will take away your money, your wife will run away from you, your cows will die and your house will burn. But he doesn't stop there. He says, therefore, on Tuesday you should give a brown cow to a Brahman. Right? Or if it's Mercury, therefore you should chant the name Vishnu Sahasranam. You should chant the names of Vishnu. He gives an upaya. He gives you a remedy, a method to pay for this karma, but in a positive way. You know, he gives you the time, which is connected to this planet. So again, there are three levels. One is gross, so give the brown cow. Of course, nowadays, you know, if I give you a brown cow, it's not very. Give Paramatma Krishna a brown cow. He will tie it to her to his wen. Jalangi will milk her in the morning. It's not very, so you can nowadays you can give, I don't know, a brown smartphone or a brown car. Yeah, somebody gave a car to the temple. Yeah, you can give it on Tuesday. So you adjust. So three levels. One is gross. Another is subtle in terms of character and behavior. So basically, people are, for example, afraid of Saraswati. Yeah. Oh, Saraswati. Yes, but basically, all Saturn has to teach is humility, detachment, and respect. So if you're humble, renounced, and respectful, boss, that's it. There is nothing to take away from you. There is nothing to. There's no lower to push you. You're already humble. So that's it. There's not going to be any trouble. So the lesson will be like Ketu. It will say, okay, respect the beggars. Be kind to dogs and birds. Be kind to poor people. Or Saturn, be respectful to elder people. So your behavior, your qualities. And ultimately become a pure devotee. Right? So that's the solution to everything. Become a pure devotee, worship Krishna, be respectful to all the living entities. That in one steps solves all the problems. So even Parashara Hora Shastra, even astrological shastras, they do not give you fatalistic, scary things. They always tell you what to do to pay for the debt, pay out the debts, either in a gross way or in a subtle way. And subtle is the more. So the astrologer will see, he knows only gross, so he will say, okay, give charity on Tuesday. Or he will see, he can understand subtle, okay, so be respectful to children, be kind to children, be respectful to older people, and so forth. So, and one of the very famous modern astrologers, Kotamraju Narayan Rao, who was one of the main people who revived interest in astrology. And he's a Vaishnava. He's from Advaita Vamsha, actually. And so he likes devotees. He's very friendly to devotees. And he says, devotees are coming to me and saying, what should I do? What should I do? He says, come on, guys. You are, chanting Hare Krishna in the temple. You're going to the temple programs. You are singing kirtan. You are studying books. You're doing seva. There's nothing better you can do. This is the perfect solution to all the problems. You're already doing this. So just be more serious about it. There's nothing separate. Nothing separate. We need to do this. Yeah? But it is helpful. I remember in our temple, one devotee who knew astrology, he started systematic seminar on astrology, and we were studying it systematically. And then I remember I was looking at my chart. I had some difficulty. I was dissatisfied. Oh, why Krishna does it to me? What is this? I'm a devotee, and this difficulty, that difficulty. What's wrong? What is this? And then I checked my chart, and then I checked the period, and then I thought, oh, thank you, Krishna. Actually, it should have been much worse. According to this chart, it should have been really terrible. And now it's just something, just a little quarrel here, a little trouble there. So thank you very much. It's actually minimized. As Prabhupada says, it's Krishna's mercy. My karma minimized by Krishna's mercy. So that's how you use it in devotional service. Okay, so thank you very much, and we'll continue in the evening. And remember about criticism fast. Hare Krishna.